The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to the Blueprint.
Why the actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations. That's forming a...
Good evening, and welcome to Lowe's Moore and the Blueprint. Man, as you can see, man, I'm not inside today, but I want to wish everybody a happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July, whichever you choose. And I'm down in here in sunny Fayetteville, North Carolina. Both my brothers and family down here in Fayetteville or Rayford, North Carolina, and we're actually, we kind of celebrate 4th of July a few days, where we today is our fish fry, our family fish fry. Everybody's in the back. I don't know if you hear a little background music. People in the garage, people are in the house, people are in the back, and I don't want to get y'all upset, but we got fried fish, right? And we got fried frog legs, and we have these pockets called seafood pockets with shrimp, right? We have shrimp and vegetable and fish fish pockets. They in the pockets. You just let that butter melt and that olive oil just melt down on it, and man, you just let it just kind of broil inside the little pocket, and man, then you just cut it open and man, and started eating. So I don't want to make y'all jealous, but yeah, we're gonna have a good time. And a few weeks ago, I was celebrating my first year anniversary, and my two guests, Richard Douglas and Steve Vaccaro, they were on the show and they were outside, and I promised for 4th of July, man, that I would be outside. And so I'm outside on the front porch. Everybody's in the house and in the back. And I mean, this is just awesome. It's sunny here, and I heard in New York it's raining a little bit, but we're going to send the sunshine your way so you can enjoy 4th of July on tomorrow. So I'm really excited. Been trying to get my guests a few times on. He helps me to produce the show. He's done a lot of wonderful things. And I'm looking forward to talking to him tonight. I mean, he has an awesome story. He's helped me out plenty of time at the Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon. And so I'm just looking forward to it. And I'm excited, man, to be outside today. I want to wish you guys, again, a happy Independence Day, a happy 4th of July. Man, it's nothing, coming out the pandemic and, still making adjustments. Still stay, I can say to you, still stay safety, safe. It's important when need be to be socially distanced, to have your mask on. I mean, I've been vaccinated. My whole family has been vaccinated. And so we're down here enjoying it. We probably got between 40 and 50 people here at the house. We're going to have even more tomorrow at my other brother's house, man, where we're just going to do it up. So I want to jump right into it again. Happy Independence Day, and enjoy family. Enjoy every moment that you have to spend with family. I mean, my lifeline is family. And that's when I started the show. I started out with the importance of family and extended family. So and extended family means friends, right? I don't call brother-in-laws and sister-in-laws. I don't call them friends. I call them family. They're not extended family. But we have made friends, right, that have become a part of our family. I say that's our extended family. Right. And some of them are just family. So enjoy it. Right. Celebrate it. Stay safe. and be blessed. Let me jump right into this, man. I want to start off with the book of the week. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Man, this is a heavy, heavy, heavy book. Scripturally in the Bible said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Right? It's not thinking with your mind. Right? See, if you dealing with some real serious things with your mind, right? It's not really in your mind, right? It has, when you start to deal with depression and mental health and anxiety and all those different things, right? That's because what's in our mind has gotten into our heart, right? And so it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? So you have to change what's in your heart in order to change what's in your mind. So this is a real good book here. I recommend it highly. Make sure you get it, As a Man Thinketh, by James Allen. And make sure you read. I put in there, make sure you read. I call it a must read. Read the Declaration of Independence. You need to know why there's an Independence Day, why there's a 4th of July. All men are created equal, right? All men are created equal, man, right? Regardless of race and creed and color, right? We are all created equal, and the Declaration of Independence speaks about that. So make sure that's a must read. I mean, and even when I graduated high school, I graduated 1976, right? And then the Declaration of Independence was done 1776. So please, take a look at it. Make sure you read it, and just enjoy it. Know your history. And so the key word today is independence, right? Many of us can be dependent, or we can be independent, right? In some instances, man, you can go out and get an education, whether you get a high school degree, high school diploma, college degree, and master's, doctorate, whatever you get, right? Sometimes you can become dependent, right? Really, education is to make you independent, right? Independent. When you're independent means that, man, that you are self-sufficient. I'm dependent. I'm not relying on anybody, right? Because I become independent, right? You want to be an independent thinker. You want to have an independent lifestyle. So that's the key word this week, independence, because we in Independence Day. And so next is from Pierce Harper, Affirmation Moment, right? Let's see here. We got it. Yeah. Don't forget freedom on Independence Day. But the affirmation, right? Not the affirmation, the Hill and Pierce Harper affirmation quote moment. It says, every day, in every way, I am becoming financially independent with the help of God. It will surely come. Every day, in every way, I am becoming financially independent with the help of God. It will surely come. It will surely come, right? We want to be independent, right? And that's our moment. So here's our music and movie of the week. And one of the all-time greats, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. Man, I love that song. It's so crazy about this song Marvin wrote, right? Because, man, it transcends time, right? And man, those words, man, you can look and ask yourself what's going on today. I mean, back when Marvin was younger, man, and all the injustices what happening back then, man, that song was apropos, but also that song is apropos today. Man, you could hey, do me a favor, look it up on YouTube, pull it out, listen to it, and see, man, a whole lot hasn't changed from back in the day, right? We're still dealing with the same issues. And then, one of the favorite movies is Independence Day, right? Awesome movie, man. Every Independence Day, man, we usually you can pull out 1 and 2 and watch it and enjoy Will Smith and the guys. And then next, we're going to have a curiosity question at some point in the show. I'm going to ask Steve a curiosity question, so look forward to that. And then I want to do a shout out to Rye Benjamin, Mount Vernon's own Rye Benjamin. Started out at Mount Vernon High School, broke records there, and went on a full scholarship to UCLA, and then had transferred over to USC, then became a pro, and now he's going to be running in the 4x4 400. He's in the 400, and he came, man, second highest, lowest record in the history, and he's going to be running over there, and I'm excited. I can't wait to see Rye, man. Last time we talked, man, he's talking about going pro, signed with Nike, and now he's in the Olympics. Rye, congratulations, man. And then finally, I got my godson, man. He was on the show a little while ago, man. Look, he graduated from Dominican College last weekend. Man, he got a little business out called Self Love. Jamal Johnson, we call him Bob because my daughter said that he didn't look like he should be named Jamal, so they named him Bob. So Bob, congratulations, man, and man, I'm excited for you. Went to nursing school. He's going to be a nurse, and that's awesome, man. Yeah, man. I love you, man, and keep up the good work. And coming soon, next week, we got the gifted. Man, this young man is gifted. Milton Van is coming next week. Man, I'm looking forward to it, Milton. It's going to be awesome. Awesome, man. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. And I got some other special guests. I got a pro golfer on the following weekend. And then at the end of the month, I got Pastor Jeffrey Willer is going to be on. And then in August, I'm having my good friend, Dr. Randy Clark is going to be on in August. Man, I'm looking forward to not only tonight, but the future of the BluePrint podcast. And so let's get into this thing right now. Because it's Independence Day, I want to show you this video, and then I'm going to introduce a video for my guests, and then we're going to just jump right into the conversation. So this Independence Day video, let's check it out.
My great-grandfather had been a slave, and when he was freed, the first thing he did, he got married to the woman that he loved. So I know something about Jefferson history, and to come here to his home and to reflect on what he said and what he did, it says something about the goodness of the American dream, that we all can come and move to a different place. We all live in the same house, not just the American house, but the world house. And the truth that Jefferson wrote, they cannot be denied.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Probably if it's around today, we know what you're saying when you say all men, all human. It doesn't matter whether you live in the American South, or Midwest, or whether you live in Africa or in Europe, or in Asia, or Central South America. All men, all humans are created equal. And no one should be denied certain basic rights because of the color of their skin, the gender, or whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. All men are created equal. Before I introduce my guests, I want you to check out this. I got little man here since it's Independence Day. Say hello. You want to say hi to everybody? This is Dakota. This is my grandson. You want to say hi? Look over there. Say hi. Yeah. Huh? Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Love you, man. Go have some fun, man. Go have some fun. I want to show you a video of tonight's guest. I want to share this video with you, and so let's do it now. Let's show this.
Say it loud and there's music playing. Say it soft and it's almost like praying. It's almost like praying. It's almost like praying. It's almost like praying. It's almost like
Cabo Rojo, Corozal, Naguabo, Guaynabo, San Lorenzo y San Germán, San Sebastián y mi viejo San Juan, Isabela, Maricao, Fajardo, Dorado, Hormiguero, Sumacao, Truquillo, Atillo.
Vega baja, toda alta, toda baja, Mayagüez. Otra vez, Aguadilla, Quebradilla, Guayanilla, Juanadilla, Cicayey. It's almost like praying. It's almost like praying. It's almost like
Arecibo, Guanica, Culebra, Las Piedras.
Orocovis, Guayama, Gurabo, Maunabo, Aguas Buenas, Salinas,
Río Grande, Sabana Grande.
Yabucoa, Florida,
Peñuela, Santa Isabel.
Ay, Naranjito, Barranquita, Carolina, ay, bonito Bayamón, Rincón, Barceloneta, La María, Comerío, Moca, Ponce, Manatí, así.
It's almost like praying.
Utuado, Aguada, las Juntas y Caguas.
Canóvanas, Cataño, Junco, Las Ayuyas,
Villalba, Arroyo, te amo.
La cueva de Camuy, los baños de Coamo.
Trujillo Alto, Ceiba, Ciales, la isla de Vieques, el Grito de Lares.
Yauco,
Sidra,
Añasco,
Patillas, Morovis, Loíza, lo existe.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico,
Puerto Rico,
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Brinquen que por 35 la isla completa. Somos boricuas, ahora que se sepa.
Puerto Rico, sí, Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico.
Wow, awesome. Man, I want to bring in my guest this evening, Mr. Steve Vaccaro.
Hey, Lowe's, how's it
What's
going?
It's good, man. Hey, man, I'm in a little rhythm, man, too.
I see that.
Puerto Rico.
I had to spice it up a little bit. You're just a little too comfortable in that rocking chair.
Yeah, I mean that was awesome. Before we get into you, let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, because I've been to, uh, I've been around the world, man. I mean, but I've been to Puerto Rico plenty of times,
Hmm.
and man, I was really devastated um, by the storm that hit Puerto Rico, and uh, I had been there for a Boys and Girls Club conference. I had met a number of people at the Boys Club in Puerto Rico, and I have friends that are in Maryland that family was there, so I was constantly calling her about making sure that her family, her father and mother, and everybody was okay. So yeah, just a wonderful place, and you guys had the opportunity to go over there and be a support during a very crucial time. So talk a little bit about that, and also that how that video came along, and man, it's just hot.
Yeah, no, it's a great video, and thank you very much for inviting me on your great show. I'm so blessed to have you part of our network because you know what? The average podcast during the pandemic only lasted 8 to 10 shows, 8 to 10 podcasts nationwide, and you've been able to do it for a whole year. So, man, you're doing a great job. So I'm so happy that it's taken off. You have a platform for so many great people bringing family and friends together with faith. And it's just a blessing to be your friend, but to see that unfold on the screen week after week. And, it's not Sunday, but it's Saturday night. So happy Independence Day. And thank you very much to all your viewers out there. But that video was very special because um, I have this show, Chapters Wrap, for 8 years, right?
Mhm.
So before the pandemic in January, the earthquake hit Puerto Rico, right? It hit them in a big way. And I had been working with this group called Herbitos with Troops. And those are the guys there. They went to Puerto Rico maybe a week after the earthquake hit there. A lot of those folks in that picture are from Puerto Rico. That's Jose and Amy and Aggie and the whole crew, John Michael, everybody there. That's in Puerto Rico. We went to San Juan, all across Puerto Rico. They went first. I wasn't there. They went there to give back food, medical supplies, any items, hand delivered it. What they did was they collected food and items here in New York. They would pack it up, mail it to Puerto Rico, fly there, and then hand deliver it to all the places in Puerto Rico that authorities couldn't get to because sometimes it gets very political and they pick and choose who gets food and medical supplies. So they wanted to handle it their own. So when they came back, that whole crew and even more, when they came back, they came into my TV studio in Huntington and they talked about it. It was a couple of days after that they had went. And it was about 15 of them and I'm sitting at the desk interviewing them, but seeing them like break down crying about what they witnessed because in Puerto Rico, the structures of the homes are solid concrete and an earthquake, any shift in the earth can be devastating. And even though it's a little crack in the foundation, they can't stay there. Unfortunately, we're seeing this in Miami, what happened there. When something happens, a tragedy, they're left homeless, displaced, without food or medical supplies, electricity. So when they came back into my TV studio in Huntington, they had tears in their eyes and they said they were going back and they look to me and to other people that I know to kind of help them promote what they were doing to gather up donations and supplies so they could bring it back. So we talked about that during that interview, but at the same time, something hit me. I said, all of a sudden, I said, I want to go with you guys. I want to go the next time you go. I want
Wow.
to be there. I had never been to Puerto Rico before, and they looked at me like, this is live. They looked at me like, okay, sure, Steve. But the next day, I got my plane ticket. I worked it out. So we went back. This is right before the pandemic. We went back February 2nd of 2020 and stayed for 12 days. And
Awesome.
I flew there and we went home to home in the mountains. We helped so many people. And it was a true blessing, but it was one of the saddest things I ever had to see because you get connected with the people that are suffering, and then we stayed in a home that was like 2 hours away. So every night, wherever we went, we had to drive 2 hours back in the middle of the night to get there. But there were people devastated by that, and it left a lasting impact on me to do that. But those guys, some of them are in the military, some of them are officers, some of them are volunteering their services. They continue to do that, and it was a one-shot deal for me. And I want to go back with them, but there's so many things that they've been doing such a great job with. They're called Herbitos with troops. They're based in Bayshore. I love those guys very much, and they made me part of their crew. And I was able to do, as a psychologist, I was able to do counseling with a lot of the folks there. And not knowing Spanish, I had a translator, and we really connected. The universal language of love was really shown there. And you could see a lot of them, some people would be angry at what happened to them, but they weren't angry at all. They were welcoming. They were heartbroken, but they were welcoming and full of love.
Wow. Yeah. So, which brings me to, I didn't know when I was going to pop in you never know when I'm going to pop in a curiosity question or have a curiosity conversation, right?
Okay.
I think I'll just pop it in right now because, and I just recently said this. I said to someone, if Puerto Rico, St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands, if they are a part of America, why is it that what's the holdup in regards to the kind of support that we should all be receiving as Americans, and what's the big deal on why we can't get support in these beautiful areas of America? Why isn't there more support?
Yeah, that's a great question, Lowe's. And when I was in Puerto Rico, they were asking that very same question. The everybody there, from the authorities to the people that were displaced with their homes to people that in college educated folks that really didn't understand, because it almost felt like they were, how they described it in Spanish and in English, like they were orphans, and they were not being accepted in the mainland in the United States. And that earthquake was completely devastating. And they compared it to things that happened in Louisiana, some of the tragedies that happened in the States, that all the relief efforts that took place there, they compared that to that. And I think that's why I wanted to go, because I saw that. I usually work with groups that are in need. And when they came back from Puerto Rico, that group, they were in need. They needed counseling services. That's what they wanted me to do. They wanted to promote their efforts to gather up donations, but they need counseling services. And to this day, I still don't understand why there's a disconnect between most of the United States government and the countries that you just met, the states that you just mentioned, and the geographical areas. But you saw it firsthand when you went to Puerto Rico that at the time there wasn't a lot of federal help at those
Right.
moments.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a conversation we need to have. And my wife and I, of course, I was in Puerto Rico. I toured. We played, won the CBA championship, and gentleman who bought the Albany Patroons in my last year there owned a resort, a tennis and golf resort in Puerto Rico. And when we won the championship, we were there for 2 weeks at his resort, and we toured all areas of Puerto Rico. We played against the Puerto Rican Olympic team as part of their warm up and preparation for the Olympics. So I mean, I've seen some beautiful things in Puerto Rico, and I've seen some rough places in Puerto Rico, and as well as my wife and I visited the St. Thomas Island, Virgin Islands,
Mm-hmm.
and she was there. I don't know, my nose just started running, but she was there to speak in St. Thomas and St. Croix in regards to the deficiency of education within that in those areas, and we got an opportunity to go in those school districts. I mean, it was one of the worst. You know, the islands are beautiful. You know, when you wake up in the morning, you think you're in heaven. You know, and then when we went to the schools, we were like, wow, man, this is not good. And yeah, so that's a curiosity conversation that needs to be had, and I don't know how to have it, but I
Right.
just thought I'd bring it up at this point. You
No,
know.
it's a good point because it's a confusing time, and the video came together. There was some local folks there that music was, at the time they created a song, and we were able to put some of the pictures to what we did to our efforts to the song, and it created additional funding and donation sources for people because when we came back from Puerto Rico, we had a big fundraiser March 14th of 2020, and we had Ricky Byrd, who was the lead guitarist and Hall of Fame guitarist of Joan Jett and the Blackhawks, come down. We raised a lot of money and got a lot of food donations and medical supplies to bring to Puerto Rico on March 14th. And then we all know what happened about 10 days later. The pandemic hit. So,
Yes.
it seems like a long, long time ago when I went to Puerto Rico, but those folks have been hit doubly when the pandemic hit because they were displaced and then the coronavirus unfolded for the world. So I almost feel a little bit guilty not going back there because I connected with a lot of families and children that I often wonder how they're doing right now.
Well, yeah, we need to talk about that because a good friend of mine I had on the podcast when I did the minister, Pastor Paul Sherrill, has a ministry in Puerto Rico. So yeah, probably need to talk. We probably all need to get back over there
Yeah.
and see what we can do. But I want to digress and talk a little bit about Steve. So, Steve, as you know, I got three important questions that I have each week, and what is talk about what is the importance of family? Growing up, mom, dad, if they're siblings, and then also the importance of education, and for you, the importance of faith. So, start with family, and bring us up, go back, and then bring us up to where you are right now.
Yeah. So my my life started off kind of with great adversity. I I had a younger brother, Richie, but when I was about 4 or 5, my father had left, and my mom um, didn't really cope with that leaving so well. So there was she had made a suicide attempt at that time at 5 years old. And I'm actually in the middle of writing a book. It's going to be called One Chapter at a Time, which kind of takes a look back at my life and how I got to this point. But at that moment, when my father had left abruptly and my mom was really struggling with that, she apparently took an overdose of pills. And I can remember this in an apartment in Long Island, Island Park. And she fell to the floor and she started yelling and screaming and she was crying. She was in so much pain. This is actually my first memory that I can remember. And then she was yelling since I was the oldest, Stephen, call 911. She was crying out,
Mm.
call 911. And I was 5. And back then you had the rotary phones, right?
Yeah,
You know?
definitely.
So I never used the phone before, and she was crying and screaming. But I could feel the pain. My brother was crying. He was 2 years younger than me, and so he went into the next room, and I'm fumbling trying to call on the phone, and I finally got the 911 to work there. Well, they responded, and what happened was sometimes back in the day there, mental illness wasn't in the forefront of people's minds. So, when the police showed up, they really weren't equipped or handled focus on a crisis situation that with a mental health crisis.
Mm.
She became combative with the police officers there, and at that moment, they took her away, and they took my brother and I away at that very moment. And reliving it's hard because that changed the focus of life forever. Because from there, I was in and out of different foster homes and shelters growing up, and I would always be reunited with my mom at times when she would get well, and that's my mom at a wedding. And in that picture, she had MS, and she really couldn't walk. Somebody wheeled her to the dance floor. They wheeled her up there and propped her up, and I lifted her. We just stood there. We really didn't dance the first dance. This is obviously a younger version of myself, and my mom in a wheelchair back then. My mom was and still is everything to me. Everything that I do is because I tried to live it through her eyes, and I would always want to switch places with her because she was in so much pain. And you brought up Marvin Gaye before, right? So she was a big Dinah Ross and Supremes fan, and we would fight over the TV because she'd always want to watch Dinah Ross, and I always want to watch the Yankee game, and we'd fight over that. But it's ironic because when you bring up Marvin Gaye, him and Tammy Terrell did a version of "Ain't No Stopping Us," "Ain't No Mountain High Enough."
Yes.
And Tammy Terrell unfortunately succumbed at a young age to mental health issues, suicide, and it's sad. And then Marvin Gaye also died at a young age as well. With you talk about family,
Mm.
but I bring that up because she was a big Dinah Ross fan, and she sang a song called "Missing You," Dinah Ross,
Yes.
which for her friend Marvin Gaye.
Mm.
So if you listen to the words, it's specifically for Marvin Gaye, that song. So I digressed a little bit, but I had a journey in the foster care system, in shelters. I was, separated from my mom. I was separated from my brother at times. And you talk about family. That's one of my foster families that I lived with. This is
Mm.
later in life. Those are my two daughters, Giovanna, and then Angela to the left. Giovanna's the oldest one. Later in life, I got reacquainted with them and was able to have them meet my daughters.
Wow.
And so, family to me was friends, and family to me was wherever I was, I created a loving relationship with whoever I was with. But I always felt this need to pay it forward and to create my own world because it was always taken away from me. So I felt if I created my own world, then I can be comforted by that. I can control that until the time was where I had to move on. But at least I felt like I was in control of the people I was around. It could be friends, it could be coaching, or whatever it was. I everywhere I went, and there was no cell phones, there was no nothing at back then, and it was very important to have those friendships. So for me, friends have been family, and friends are always just as family have been. And without my friends, without the foster families that I've been involved with, I would never be able to do the things that I'm doing today.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Yeah. And as you know, on the blueprint, I mean, you know, we kind of, if you think about it, if you're building something, I'm living. My brother lives in this wonderful neighborhood, and when he first moved in, it was only a few houses here, right? And then each time we'd come down there, more and more houses. It's probably like 60, 70 houses, beautiful homes here. But, you know, before this, when my brother lived around the corner, when he first started at Fort Bragg, and we used to come visit him in a trailer, and all this was woods. And so somebody had to have a blueprint, and as you know, excavation is not easy, and so you have to create a blueprint, in order to go a plan, in order to go in there and excavate what's in the ground, find out what's in the ground, so forth and so on, get that stuff out of the ground so you can lay foundations. And you know, you being a clinical psychologist, right? You know that people, in order to get, you create what I consider is, foundations, and sometimes foundations are not good,
Right.
but yet so many people on the show have not had real good foundations laid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so something happens, whether it's a coach, a teacher, extended family. They come and they help you. Now it could go the opposite way. Now you can go into an environment, a situation where it could deepen, put you in a deeper, keep you in that foundation, man. That's not positive. Or you can find yourself in a situation where somebody comes along and they start to excavate, help you deal with the things that have been laid in your foundation, and until eventually you're able to see us have that space there where now you can create a new foundation. And listening to you, I could see that, and where you are now, I can see, that another foundation has been laid, and now you're laying foundations, or
Right.
you're helping people to lay foundations. So, from that experience into, you know, the education and faith.
Right. So, because I bounced around so much, I I ended up in Amityville High School, and that was my last stop there in high school. I moved in the middle of ninth grade. I remember I was living in Port Jefferson, and I was going to Comsawag out there, and I played baseball. And we had a team that went to the championship the year before, and the team that we came back with, and I had played varsity in that ninth grade, as a sub. But towards the end, I was playing shortstop and I pitched. But we had a great team. But when it came down to it, my mom got sick again, and I had to leave. And then I found myself leaving that team in the middle of the season and going to Amityville. And I
Mm.
couldn't. It was too late. I couldn't play at that time. And again, it was being separated from my mom. But I remember it was in June or something. I went down to the basement of the home that I was living at, and remember the old cable boxes with the brown box and with the wire and the different channels and stuff. I got home.
Yeah,
I
I
was
do remember that.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
I was flipping through the channels, and I saw this team that was playing upstate New York in the finals, and it was the team that I was on. So it was a team, and there was a new guy playing shortstop because I wasn't there anymore.
Wow.
So it was an eye opener. I was happy for them, but I was very sad. But at that moment, I realized I had to create my own world around me. So I started to coach little league. I started writing for the town paper. I wrote for the school paper. I played baseball. I even wrestled, and I have a friend that may even pop on later. His name is Dave Grafstein, and he was a wrestler, and he became my friend right away, and we connected in a big way. And he kind of introduced me to different people in Amityville, and I wrestled, and I wasn't as good as him, but it kept me in shape for baseball, and together we have a lifetime friendship. And now I'm happy to say he has a show on the network called Flashback Sports with Gil Cosenza, and he does a
Wow.
great job with it. And it reminds me because I'm afraid to say how long ago it was. It's 40 years ago. you know,
Yeah, yeah.
those years add up. So but if it wasn't for people like Dave coming along the way, a friend and a family, then that was very important at the time. I learned a work ethic. I really think God was with me the whole time because I went to different homes, but there were different religions in each home. I never felt comfortable with any of the religions with the families that they went to. But
Right.
I always talked to God on my own. I always prayed on my own. And I think God always looked out for different things that I did. And I just had faith in him. And from that day on, I always, always had hope. You pick a picture out like hope. So I developed. I always had to be busy. So I played sports. I worked 40 hours a week. I wrote for the paper. I coached. I had a girlfriend at the time, and so I always created my own world. And then work ethic was just something I did. And then education, I just knew I needed to go to college. I knew I had to go to college. No one ever told me. So education was very important to me. That's my grandfather. You talk about Independence Day, and he would travel and find out the different foster homes that I was in. And back
Yes.
then, you're not supposed to the biological family is not supposed to know where you live in these foster homes. But he found me and my brother each and every time. And that if you pop that picture back in, Carmine, that picture is from Stony Brook, and when he graduated my undergraduate degree, and probably, I mean, he's a World War II veteran, so we talk about Independence Day. He sacrificed for his family, and I learned all the family values from him, even though I was never as I followed through like he did. He's a great man. He was a saint, but he gave everything he had to for his family, and he instilled that in me into creating the family that I've had over the years. So, my grandfather, who passed away, was everything to me, and so I knew education was important. I had gone to Stony Brook. I didn't, I had like a 3.4 GPA, and then from there I went to Queens College. I always believed in the SUNY and CUNY schools. So I went to Queens College in Queens and Flushing, and that's where I got a dual master's degree in psychology and education and school psychology. And I went on in Maryland, the University of Maryland, and I worked. I went to finish my schooling there, and then I worked at Johns Hopkins Hospital for a number of years, and I did a lot of work there. So work ethic and education was always something I knew I had to do, and things that it just came to me. And thank goodness and the grace of God that I believe God provided that path for me
Yeah.
in every way. Because, you talk about, people feeling sorry for themselves. I never really felt sorry for myself. I just believed in who I was and what I was doing because I was helping others. And there was a lot of really great people on my way that came, but God and faith was always there. So I am, to this day, I look back on my grandfather and my mom, and they're with me every single day.
Yeah, and one of the young men that I had on my show, I think you would remember Zion Clark,
Yeah,
right? And I remember asking him a question about born with no legs. If he was ever angry, if he ever gets mad or angry with God. And I was surprised when he said, "Oh no, I've learned to use what I have." And for all of us that we're not dealt great hands, right? But I want to commend you for perseverance, for not giving up. And because, like I said earlier, you can go another way. You can stay in the mess in the foundation that was laid, or you can, you know, kind of try to excavate that foundation. And that's what you do when people come along and help you to excavate. When you go to school and do the things that you're supposed to do,
right.
and graduate, that's the excavation process. I mean,
Yeah,
those thoughts, or those experiences, or those traumas are still there. But the more you excavate, the more you get the education and start to do the things that you're doing right now. um, it makes it your life more prosperous, you know. And so I appreciate you for that. And what about what about is there a love of your life?
Yes, yes, yes. I have a beautiful wife, Wanda,
All
and
right.
that's we're in Florida there, and that symbol is the autism symbol, and pieces of the puzzle. So we have a granddaughter, that Alyssa, that is a nonverbal, suffering from autism. So that's
Mm.
Alyssa. Now, I it is a challenge to get the services that, in general, for people that are struggling with autism. But when you're nonverbal, it's even more of a challenge to help. But Wanda has been a major force in my life, and I am. That's our wedding picture.
I like that.
That's in the Jericho Terrace in New York, and she's been an incredible support, and she's from the Dominican, and
Mhm.
she comes from a really close, tight knit family, and she's a twin, and she moved here in when she was 9 years old. Her mom died at a young age, so just like a lot of families from different countries, when they come to the United States, they're divided from their families. But her family has always taken me in and been just like a family, always by my side, and I love them dearly, and that's just recently. That's a couple of days ago.
Wow.
It's important. It's important to enjoy life. Something
Yeah.
It's been a journey for me. So sometimes I haven't been able to at a good place to rest. To just kind of sitting on a rocking chair, like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Take it in, but you have to be reminded that life is short, and this pandemic has really hit people hard, and we lost lives, we lost
You eat
families,
some?
and I really have a better appreciation of immediate family and extended family, and I'm so very blessed to have Wanda in my life, and our children. I have my oldest daughter, Giovanna. She just got married 2 years ago.
Wow,
This
beautiful.
picture, this is one of my favorite pictures of all time, because this is right before I walked Gia down the aisle. Gia's Giovanna Rose and my other daughter Angela. But we had a moment right before we went into the church, and Gia got a little nervous then, and we prayed right then. Right after that picture, somebody took that picture, and the three of us prayed before we did the beautiful ceremony and had a great day. But that picture,
Need something?
when you go through life and you have the different challenges, I would do it all again to have a moment like that. It was
Yeah,
all worth it to have that moment, because that was, for me, that was God saying, Steve, this is where you belong. This is it, and you passed every test to get to that point, no matter what the road was.
yeah. That,
So that's the best picture I could ever see for myself.
yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. Because we're coming up on what 38, 39 years of marriage, and tomorrow will be my oldest daughter's second wedding anniversary.
Oh,
And in the midst of that, I end up with, you saw earlier, with Dakota,
yes,
my grandson, and so I live for family, right? And then she's due again in November, right? So I'll have two grandkids, and then my youngest daughter's getting married in June of next year. So everybody's here, everybody's down here now. So family is so important, so special, man. And I have to say it again. Maybe I could say it, I don't know. I'll say it and I really mean it for more, right? More than once. I've said it once already, but I commend you on the things that you've done to support me at the Boys and Girls Club and Mel Campos, and the club itself and the young people, and then you know the issues or topics in regards to special needs. I mean, I have a special needs son, Isaiah, and the things that you do in regards to that. So I commend you on those things. I commend you on this life that you have. You know, hey, didn't start out great, but look what you, along with God, has turned it into, and that's very powerful. And that's why I wanted to have you on, man. I mean, because your story. There's a lot of hurting people out there,
Right.
right? And people need to know. My friend said to me during the pandemic, right? We can't go in the church, right? He said you can't go in the church, because of the pandemic. He said, but you can be the church,
Right.
right? And I thank you for being the church, right?
Well, and you know what, Lowe's? Two things I want to bring up. You've had guests throughout your year that talked about the relationship with their father and things. I know you talked about the Father's Day. My father had left. I found out later in life he was incarcerated in Iowa, and I was 17. I was in Amityville actually, and I got a letter. He spelled my name wrong. He spelled it Stephen instead of with the V.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, let me check this out. I mean, this is like really. So I got a plane ticket to Iowa to see him and to kind of set him straight. That I'm doing this, this, and this. My mother overcame this, this, and this, and how dare you, yada yada yada. Well, let me tell you, God was with me that day because, to make a long story short, when I finally got in there to see him, he had a different name. It was a long story to get there, but when I got in there, I was full of rage at 17. When I got into this room, I saw this broken down man, totally broken down and very sickly looking. And I know God was like, it took all that anger away. It just went totally out of me. And I felt compassion for him. And I was able to learn a little bit about him. And to make a long story short, he had passed away 5 years later at the age of 44. The same age Marvin Gaye passed away, right? He
Right.
was
Yeah.
young, 44. So it's interesting how you brought up Marvin Gaye earlier. But
Yeah.
when I came back, I tell that story because sometimes when people make bad decisions or poor decisions, doesn't mean they don't hurt. And anybody, like, we could talk about Father's Day or Mother's Day, but there's a lot of people separated from their children in all walks of life. And let me tell you, that could be the most painful situation that anybody has to go through, not to be with their children on a regular basis. So
Mm.
it's a topic that I've covered on my shows and different shows over the years. And I want to always remember that, I mean, anger doesn't get us anywhere. I mean, it's about healing and finding out how we got to this path. So I wanted to tell that story because I know that you deal with a lot of people that talk about their relationship with their father, good or bad, but it could
Right.
be motivating, and it motivated me to be the father I am. No matter if it's good or bad, your upbringing, you're going to learn from that. Just like in baseball or basketball, like you take free throws. All right, it's okay if you shoot 95% free throws that making it through, but that 5% you're going to learn more from the time you're missing. How you're going to work through that. And
That's right.
in baseball, if you get 3 hits out of 10, you're batting 300. You're making the Hall of Fame if you do that over 20 years. But there's 7 times where you're failing.
That's
So
right.
we have to remember those times. If you want to talk about sports like that, we have to remember those times where people struggle and fail and trying to turn things around. And because
Hmm.
because my father was incarcerated, he didn't have that opportunity. So
Right.
I'm thankful that I had resolution and I didn't voice that anger, but that was God. God took that anger away from me because I was ready to go.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And so we're going to digress again and jump into and have some pop up guests. We want to talk about the chapters wrap. I mean, how did it do this? Its inception. Hold it for and anybody that wants to, this is interactive. So if you have a guess or a question for Steve or a comment, you could just type it in, and if there's a question, we'll try to answer either one of us. If it's for Steve, he'll answer it for me. But
Lowe's, if it's a basketball question, I got it. Okay.
okay, you got the basketball. So talk to me about the inception of the chapters wrap, and then all the things that you're doing, and how it's arrived to here. And then you have some pop up people. We want to pop them on, and have a discussion with them.
All right. So as a kid, that's my first day doing the show. That's 8 years ago, and it was radio. And basically, when I grew up, I bounced around a lot, and I used to have this little transistor radio that always came with me. So I didn't watch TV, or I couldn't watch TV. So I had this radio that I like a lot of stories. I put it under your pillow, and late at night, I used to get a kick of listening to all the baseball games from different states. Like the Indian games or the Tiger games.
Right.
So I'd always like move around the radio so I could listen to it. And so I always loved talk radio. I always loved talk radio. my two for TV, my two role models, and when Dave comes on, were Johnny Carson because he was a great interviewer, but also Phil Donahue because Phil Donahue had this radio show, but on live NBC at 4 o'clock every day. He would take on all these controversial topics, and he would always say, "Is a caller there?" And he would run around the studio with the microphone, wanting to get people's feelings and thoughts. So
Right.
I always liked that. So I said, one day I want to do that. So basically, 8 years ago, I started to do that. The chapter's rap name. I'm a psychologist, so I believe in stages in our life, different chapters in our life. Rap just means to talk about it, to talk about those stages. So through the years, it's evolved, and I've been able to do syndicated shows. I moved it to TV. We got some. We're on FiOS Cablevision, Optimum Cablevision, Spectrum, and BronxNet. We have 15 different shows now. My theme song has been "Love Train" by the OJs.
I like that.
Yeah, so that's a train.
Get on the love train.
There we go.
Love train.
There we go. There we go. So we're waiting for the love train to take out there. So one of my bucket lists is to meet the OJs and interview them. So if you could hook me up, Lowe's, I need help. I got to get to the OJs,
The
somehow.
OJs.
Yeah, old school. So so anyway, that and I do a show with Ray Negron called Reach Out with Ray and Steve. And Ray has been a great friend, and that my relationship with him, he's been with the Yankees for over 45 years. Real quick, he was a kid, 17, growing up in the Bronx. He was spray painting graffiti in Yankee Stadium. He got caught. He got arrested, but George Steinbrenner, who just bought the Yankees in '73, took him out of jail, brought him up to his office, read him the riot act, but made him a Yankee bat boy that day. So for 47 plus years, he's been with the Yankees. He's written 5 books. He's been in movies. He's been in plays. And I got to meet him at Suffolk Community College, and I interviewed him one time a couple years back. And after that, we became fast friends, and we do this show, Reach Out with Ray and Steve.
Yeah.
He's opened
Great
up
show.
Yeah, he's opened up the doors for me to meet so many people. This guy, you talk about Hope Week with the Yankees. It's beautiful what they do, right? Hope Week, but Hope Week with the Yankees is only 1 week out of the whole year. Ray Negron does it every single day of his life, and that's dedicated to that. And he lives in George Steinbrenner. Whatever George Steinbrenner did to him, he continues to pay it forward in a big way. He's allowed me into the world of so many people, so I'm totally indebted to Ray Negron. He's a great friend, and we do a show called Bat Boy. Carmine, who does the board tonight, he plays Little Ray in the play. Yeah, so, when Carmine doesn't do this stuff, he's actually acting, and he does a great job. And Carmine's a great kid. But during the pandemic, we had to reinvent ourselves. How I reinvented myself, I went from one show to 15 shows. That's one show with Stephanie McPhail, Kicking Healthy Relationships. Then we started to talk. We did shows. We did work together at the Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon. That's Ashley Blum. She just had a 1-year anniversary doing her show, Teen Talk, and she's only 16 years old. And Dads and Daughters. That's Mike Dempsey and his daughter Kelly Dempsey, who is on the spectrum, and they do a show, Dads and Daughters. And it's a beautiful relationship to see a father and a daughter give back in such a big way. So everybody, that's Mariana Lynn. She's 12 years old. She does the show, and she's from Florida. So to me, everything that I've been doing in life, it all comes back to my relationship with my mom, my friends, and God, and family. And to me, it's just an easy thing to give it back to other people.
Man, that's awesome, man. Yeah. Hey, and you was quick, Steve.
Yeah, I know how this goes. I know this show ends at 8:30. I got to talk fast.
Yeah. So, who do you want to pop on first?
Let's get Dave Grafstein. I see he's backstage. Let's get Dave because he's got to validate or disprove some of the things I said.
Yeah. All right, Dave. Stop validating or disproving. What's up, Dave? How you doing?
I don't know who he's talking about. I'm doing well. How are you, folks?
I am good. No complaints. Nice to meet you too.
You and I actually crossed paths years ago. I just didn't know it because I'm an Albany grad, and I was at Albany while you were at the Patroons. Back in the early '80s. Yeah, so I was at the Armory. A number of times.
I remember that place.
I think you were there for. Were you there for Phil Jackson and George Carl?
I was there for both.
For both of them.
More for Phil than I was George.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 years with Phil.
Gotcha. Did you see that coming? Okay.
Which one?
Did you see that coming with Phil Jackson being a Hall of Fame NBA coach?
I didn't see him becoming a Hall of Fame NBA coach, but I could tell you this. I wanted to see him in the NBA because he was a player's coach. You would love to play for Phil Jackson. I mean, he keeps it straight, and he allows you to be you.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine that. As far as Steve is concerned, I don't know the kid he's talking about. He was a scam artist. Nah, Steve. Actually, it's bringing back some memories. You're talking about your mom and dad. I can still remember when you got that letter and when you went to see your father in prison. That was a tough time. And Steve's very humble also about his athletic ability because he was a terrific baseball player. He doesn't talk about it much, but he was probably the best player on our team, and I got to catch Steve. He was an excellent pitcher, 12-6 curveball, if I remember well, Steve. Some of them didn't always get to my glove, but he was all we had, Lowe's. So it was excellent. But yeah, he doesn't really even begin to do it justice in terms of what he overcame as from 5 years old on. It's unbelievable. So. It's amazing to see just even the ability of even having the wherewithal to kind of get through the years he did, those formative years, go to college, give back like he's been doing for decades now. It's awesome. And to see all these shows that he puts on right now, these young people too, it's incredible. So I appreciate really with both of you guys, Lowe's, what you do for the Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon. There could be nothing more important than that. So we have a great club up here as well in Stamford, Connecticut, and I see what these guys do.
Oh, awesome club! Yeah,
you're probably familiar with it. Yeah, it's like I said, it's an unbelievable part of the community.
Yeah. Well, Dave,
and Dave, I gotta. I mean, I talked about it earlier. I don't know how long you've been watching, but you were really an important person in my life because, it was the last stop for me. Bounced around and I really lost faith in, at times getting that really true friend. And, you didn't know at the time, but you came along just at the right time. And I remember, we would do things together and we had our girlfriends, we did our thing. And, but then you told me about wrestling and I just followed suit to what you were saying. And we would talk about Johnny Carson and Letterman all the time and sports. And I can't tell you, that friendship was so critical to me and to see you now doing a show, Flashback Sports, and something that I'm doing is pretty crazy.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Well, 40
Yeah.
years later, it's amazing the time goes that crazy. I didn't know you had this man crush on Phil Donahue, though. Where'd that come from? That was out of the blue. I didn't even hear Phil Donahue and the OJs in the same sentence about your
Like,
your
where did that
heroes.
come from, right?
Yeah, right.
That's some real diversity right there. But yeah, no, we had great times. It was we were such big sports fans. We were, we had, the Yankees were the common denominator. We played baseball and wrestled together. It was awesome. And, then you don't see people for decades. And then
Right.
you start talking again, like you had in 10 minutes, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. I remember back in the day, we would like during the trade, the trading deadline for baseball, we would have to put in our quarters or dimes to go on payphone to get on sports phone to see who was traded for who.
Absolutely.
And then they'd always leave you hanging, right? Like, call back in 2 minutes to find this out. And then I had no more quarters. I got
Exactly.
nothing left.
How sad is this, Steve? 9761313 was the number.
Yeah,
Because
right.
after that, when I was in my 20s, I was calling up every 10 minutes because I had to bet on a game typically. And I wanted to get the score. So
you
I
probably
think I
can't
spent
remember
more
what you
money
did
on the sports
20
than
minutes
I did
ago,
on,
right?
And then now you have this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like in real time. You could just pick it up and it's in real time. They won't even let you forget that something happened.
Right. Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
But Dave's a great guy. He gives back himself too. Over the years, he's supported different efforts that I've been involved with, and to this day, Dave, I love you like a brother, man. Thank you for taking the time to call in here, and I look forward to your show. It's kind of like a little mini WFAN kind of thing. What you guys got going on with you and Gil? You having fun doing it?
We love it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Lowe's, it's like we're probably a few years apart, but Gil and I are in our late 50s, and we're big on kind of the retro sports, 70s and 80s. So kind of right in your wheelhouse. So maybe if Steve can negotiate on our behalf, we can get you on, because that's kind of our wheelhouse, that era of when you were playing for the Nets and the Patroons, and we'd love to have you on and talk about that era.
I was just thinking, I said, I'm going to have to check out the flashback.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check it out because, people don't.
You might like
it's good. It's good that you have it, right? Because I guess they're tired of hearing me say, when they talk about players today, and they're tired of hearing me say, well, you have to be back here. You can't put that guy in the top 10 because you haven't seen this guy play. So I got to go to the flashback.
Right. Yeah. No, well,
I look forward to it.
Is we have our opinion based on from 30,000 feet, but to talk to somebody who was there and played against these guys and played. I think you were drafted 79, 78, somewhere along those lines. Earlier than that.
1980, yeah, 1980. I got drafted.
1980, yeah. So you played with a lot of those guys and against a lot of those guys, so you can speak firsthand. We're making it up as we go, so you can kind of shed some light on that. For sure.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, you got to call into their show, Lowe's, and you got to as a guest. Dave,
okay,
thank you, man. Thank you.
That'd be fun. And so I think Steve got some more pop on.
Yep.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you.
Thanks. Happy Independence Day, Dave.
Happy Independence Day.
Love you, brother. Why don't you bring on Tony?
Tony! What's up, Tony?
Hey, gentlemen. How is everybody?
Oh, we're good. You see, you asked me that question?
I know you're good. I know you're both good. I've been sitting back enjoying this conversation. You two make me feel like when I was a little girl. I have an uncle. I have an uncle, one of my favorite uncles, because I can't say my favorite uncle. That's why I got tongue-tied, because I know they'll all be listening to this eventually, right? One of my favorite uncles worked in a barbershop, and occasionally he would take me down to the barbershop, and I was a be seen and not heard kind of girl, and your conversation just really resonated with me. Like, it took me back to those days in the barbershop where I get to sit and be a fly on the wall and listen to, grown folks talk some wonderful things, you know, and of course when they saw a little kid in the corner, they would keep it clean, you know, not that I would ever have to worry about that with you gentlemen, but yeah, it's fantastic. I want some of that fish, Lowe's. I'm hopping in my car, keep my plate warm. Take a few hours to get there, as you know, but
and also Tony, since this reminds you of being in a barbershop, next time I see you, can I cut your hair?
No, I don't know about that.
No. And I didn't know whether I should feel good or feel old.
Well, you got that rocking chair thing going on. You look pretty comfortable there,
man. I don't have one, but I actually love rocking chairs since I was a little kid. I don't have one, but every time the time I sit in the rocking chair is when I go to what's the name of that restaurant? They have them sitting out front.
Like the benches.
What's the name of it?
Oh,
I love the pancakes. I mean,
IHOP.
Oh, IHOP.
Not IHOP. They don't have no rocking chairs out front.
Yeah, I was gonna say. What down south like that?
Cracker Barrel. Yeah. Somebody just Cracker Barrel. And I have my wife just bought me for Father's Day a WVU golf bag. Beautiful, blue and gold. I got the hat, the shirt. Now I'm looking for the pants. I'm looking for the clubs, the club holders, the covers in WVU. Man, look, and if I get me a WVU rocking chair, I'll be good.
Well, I'm just so happy you didn't fall asleep on me, Lowe's, when I was talking, in that rocking chair.
No, I'm not. Although it's pretty nice out here, if I was just sitting here and nobody was saying anything to me, I could fall asleep. My wife was in the back. She was in the back early a couple of days ago, and I was like, "Where's Treese at?" And they said she went out to the porch. I looked out on the porch. She was knocked out. I mean, I was like, "That's what this does." I mean, this kind of atmosphere does this to you, But,
wow, that's
yeah.
Good. So Tony, thank you for chiming in today.
Well, thank you both. On a serious note, it's an honor and a pleasure to share the platform, with you both. I have such a high amount of respect for both of you. Steve. We've had many conversations, and I wrote down 3 quotes. So belabor me for about 3 minutes while I read these quotes, because I wrote them down because I didn't want to botch them up. Because Steve, you don't really talk much about yourself. So it was a pleasure to sit here and listen to you talk a little bit about, what you do and what you've done in the community and what you continue to do for people. And one of my favorite quotes, I know, Lowe's, you always start your show with affirmations, and I'm big on affirmations. I'm big on quotes. So I had to dig 2 of these quotes up. One of them I almost know by heart because I know the beginning. I say it to myself almost every day. And this to me is the embodiment of Steve, which goes, work for a cause, not for applause. Live life to express and not to impress. Don't strive to make your presence noticed. Just make your absence felt. So that's one quote that I say to myself a lot, especially the first line, work for a cause and not applause. And that is the embodiment of you, Steve. You do what you do for people. You have such a heart for people. There's a phrase that goes, seeds don't always sprout where they're planted. And you have planted seeds all over this world, all over Long Island, all over everywhere you've gone. And your seeds sprout. And they don't always sprout when you plant them, but they're always nurtured, I believe, by that love of which they go into the ground, or they go into a person, they go into something. Like people have sprouted. They've actually planted seeds in you, and the seeds that are in you, they have sprouted and become all of these wonderful relationships and people that and that you've helped and that you continue to just love on. We're in the Olympic season, and I think about, we champion. And congratulations to that young man from Mount Vernon that is going to the Olympics. And I love the Olympics. We cheer them on, and we see the fruition of all their hard work. And that was what yesterday meant for me. Seeing a mile marker come and some of your hard work come into fruition. And, you know, this smile and the joy, despite your challenges that you've gone through, that you speak on, you know, makes me think of this other, you know, the other quote, one of the quotes I wrote down, which said that some of the happiest people on earth are the people that do the most for other people. And I believe that that is where a lot of your joy and your happiness comes from. Actually, both of you gentlemen, because you do so much for other people. And nobody has to do anything for anyone, but it's in your DNA and it's just in your genes to do. And, you know, I think we all heard a little bit tonight as to what the motivation behind you doing what you do for people. But, you know, you're genuine, you're hardworking, you make it look effortless. You know, I think about yesterday, and if everybody knew and understood what goes on behind the scenes before we see the things that we see, you know, maybe you'd have a deeper appreciation. I know they all have appreciation, but you'd have a deeper appreciation for what, you know, what you do. And, you know, I think one of the most important things that we can do in this world is just to make sure that people know that they're not alone. And, you know, if there was one thing I could sum up about you, Steve, is you make sure that all those individuals that you come across, that you make them believe and know you're not in this alone. You're not alone. You got at least one person out here who's going to champion you and help you and never forget you and love on you. So, you know, Independence Day, happy Independence Day, gentlemen. You know, wish you all, you know, the best, be safe. You know, I love what you said, Lowe's, about family, because family is everything. And, you know, family's not always your blood, you know, so, you know, I definitely admire both of you and consider you, you know, extended members of my family. So enjoy. That's all I got for you.
Thank you, Tony.
Tony, can you see this on my sleeve here?
Oh my goodness! I thought it looked familiar.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have unfinished business, Tony.
We do.
So we're gonna take care of that unfinished business together. We're gonna bring back a club to Hempstead. Lowe's is gonna help us. We're gonna make this happen, and you're a true blessing. And together, and with everybody else, we got some momentum yesterday. So God bless you and what you do.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So you got a couple more you want to bring both on?
Yeah, they're on together, I think. This is Tyler Gianchetta and Ashley Blum. They are near and dear to me. They both have shows. Ashley has Teen Talk, and Tyler co-hosts a show with Rachel Barcelona called Youth Heroes. And I think Tyler and Ashley are here. There they go. How you guys doing?
Yeah.
Good. How are you guys?
Oh,
we are good.
Great.
Good.
These guys. Oh my God. I mean, this is what I do. This again. If God gave me all that problems back then, it's because I had to come to the end to see these two people along with every other people. These guys warm my heart all the time. When I ask them to do something, they're always there, and I can't thank them enough with their families and everything we've created. I love you guys so very much.
Yeah. Tyler, Ashley. Yeah, it looks like you guys get ready to sing something for us. I don't know.
We are. We have our signature song.
Oh, that's awesome.
Without You, by the band Ashes Remain. And it's a fun on. She insisted on this particular song.
Yes.
I think largely because her name is Ashley and the band is called Ashes Remain.
Oh, okay. Well, do your thing.
It's a running joke.
It's a running gag. It's a running gag.
But really, this is one that we really love to sing.
Okay, let's hear it.
Underneath the cold November sky, I'll wait. As the pages of my life roll by, I'll wait for you. I'm so desperate just to see your face. Meet me in this broken place. Hold
you. Show me how to make it new again. There's no one I can run to, and nothing I could ever do. I'm nowhere if I'm here without you. Oh, oh, oh. Even if you take it all away, I'll wait for you. Even when the light begins to fade, I'll wait for you. I'm so desperate calling out your name. Meet me in this broken place. Hold me now, I need to feel you. Show me how to make it new again. There's no one I can run to, and nothing I could ever do. I'm nowhere if I'm here. I'm tired of running and wrestling with these angels. I lay down my life and I surrender. Hold me now, I need to feel you. Show me how to make it new again. There's no one I can run to, and nothing I could ever do. Hold me now, I need to feel you. Show me how to make it new again. There's no one I can run to, and nothing I could ever do. I'm no one here without you. Oh, 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 oh.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
No,
Awesome, Tyler, Ashley. Awesome. Hey, can we put back up the shots we had of their show? And Steve, can you tell them when the show comes on?
Oh yes. Well, Ashley's show, Teen Talk with Ashley Blum, every Thursday Eastern Standard Time at 6 p.m. And right after that, the Youth Heroes show with Tyler Gianchetta and Rachel Barcelona every Thursday, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They do back-to-back shows every Thursday night. So you got to check these guys out. They're wonderful. They're inspiration for everybody, not just young people, older people. I get inspired just by watching them each and every time.
That was awesome, man. Hey, keep up the great work.
Thank you
That's
guys
the
so
recurring
much.
theme of
You guys
both
are
our
awesome.
shows, edutainment.
Yep.
Edutainment. I like that.
Entertainment.
Edutainment.
Love you guys so
Love
much.
you guys,
Have a good
man.
4th of July.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I know we had a couple of pictures before we get off here. We had a couple of pictures of Steve and I.
Okay.
And we was doing some. Oh, there.
Oh, there we go. Look, you're a legend in Mount Vernon. I had to get a picture. You know, you with your Nets, gear on there with the short shorts there. And Mount Vernon, you're a legend in Mount Vernon. And when I got to meet you for the first time at the Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon with Mel Campos, it was there we go. That was like the very first time we got together. We helped out. We did a show. We brought in a couple of singers and we raised some money for you guys. And that was a great moment, and that made our friendship. That took off because I've always supported you. You've supported me. You have a wonderful book. We're going to do a book tour this summer with some key people.
Yes.
And after this show, I'm going to read the book again. From the Boys and Girls Club to the NBA. I can't get enough of it.
All right. Well, Steve, hey, we at that time, and I want to say thank you, man. I enjoyed this. We've been trying to get this show out, right? I think we missed 2 times. It was a funeral one time and then another incident. But we finally got it in, right? I couldn't wait. We made it happen. I want to say thank you for all your support of the BluePrint, right? And all you guys, Carmine, Anthony, Charlie, all you guys for your support of the Blueprint podcast. And I want all of you to enjoy the rest of the holiday, man, and eat as much as you want. You can diet later.
Yeah, right. I want some fried fish there. And stop ducking me, all right? Come to Long Island. Come bring it, all right?
Yeah, you don't want that.
Oh, yes, I do. Bring it.
All right. So, again, thank you very much for your support of the Blueprint podcast, man. I love you guys, man. And I look forward to seeing you each and every week. Enjoy the holidays. Happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July. And I love you guys. And God bless you.
God bless, Los.
God bless.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Lowe's More, the Blueprint podcast. Stay connected and follow us at our website, www.lowesmore.com. That's LOWESMOORE.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter at Lowe's More and on Facebook at Lowe's More Jr. As always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay fully up to date with everything we're up to. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
What they teaching is a joke, I ain't buying it like